I've had this mustache since high school, but for a small period of time. I was shaving one day. I wasn't paying attention, and I whacked off half the mustache. So then I had to take it all off. So I took it off. I walked out of the bathroom, and Richard's like, I don't know, 3, 4. He comes skipping by, and he skips by, and he stops, and he backs up, and he looks at me, and he goes, "You go right back in there and put it back on."
Brothers and sisters, this is Labor's moment. This is our time. And I promise you, when we come together, we will not be denied. God bless you. God bless the American labor movement.
Leslie McSpadden, Michael Brown's mother, who works in a grocery store, is our sister and an AFL-CIO union member. And Darren Wilson, the officer who killed Michael Brown, is a union member too. And he's our brother.
Your picket line is my picket line, and my picket line is yours, and I don't ask the question. I see a worker standing and fighting, I honor and help that worker and find out everything I need to know later.
Before I begin, let me start with something, I apologize, more somber. I learned a couple of hours ago when my staff came in that a close friend of mine, and I think of many of you as well, Rich Trumka, died today from a heart attack. He wasn't just a great labor leader, he was a friend.
I just called my wife, she's over there babysitting, and he heard my voice. He goes, Pap, I love you, and I miss you. Please come here. All right.
The sky's the limit.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, sisters, and brothers. Welcome to the 51st Annual Cincinnati AFL-CIO Labor Council COPE Celebration. Please welcome tonight's special guest host, a proud member of the Screen Actors Guild American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, and delegate to the Labor Council, Denise Dal Vera.
Good evening, sisters, brothers, and dear friends. We're so happy that you're here with us, even though it's virtual again this year. Tonight is all about where we go from here. We're in a new territory in so many ways. To start the evening, let's begin with our newly elected CLC Executive Secretary Treasurer, Brian Griffin. Hi, Brian.
Thank you, Denise. Greatly appreciated. And I'm so thankful for you, for all you've done to make this evening possible, and as special as we both know it's going to be. I am so excited about tonight's lineup. We have keynotes from Tim Ryan and Clayola Brown, special appearances by Aftab Pureval, local candidates, and some much needed inspiration and vision from rising leaders right here in our own ranks.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends of labor, the president of the Cincinnati AFL-CIO Labor Council and business manager, plumbers, pipefitters, and MES Local 392, Bill Froehle.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. I am Bill Froehle, the president of the AFL-CIO and the business manager of the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters and Mechanical Equipment Service, Local 392 in Cincinnati, Ohio. I want to welcome you to the 2021 COPE Dinner and to say thank you for your continued support of all organized labor, both locally and nationally. The old saying that all politics are local has never been truer than it is today. If the past 2 years have shown us one thing, I believe it is paramount that working families lean on each other, learn about each other, regardless of our race, our skin color, our nationality, our religion, or our sexual preference, and most important, that we love each other. Brothers and sisters, the labor movement has always been about lifting standards, lifting families out of poverty, and lifting elected officials who carry our same ideals. You see, in the labor movement, we truly are our brothers and sisters' keeper. In closing, I hope you enjoy this evening's program. I want to personally thank Executive Secretary Brian Griffin, SAG-AFTRA member Denise Dal Vera, and our editing guru, George Farnell, for all the work they have put into tonight's program. This could not have been done without them. Have a great night in solidarity.
We also have some great music, tributes, and immediately following the end of our program, a special screening of the full theatrical film, Stand. So now, let's begin this evening's program. Ladies, gentlemen, sisters, brothers, and friends, please remove your hats for the presentation of the colors by the Springboro JROTC Color Guard, followed by the singing of our national anthem and the beautiful Lift Every Voice, both performed by Dr. Jillian Harrison-Jones, music director of Muse, Cincinnati Women's Choir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, the
O most holy God and creator of all things, as we gather for the 51st annual AFL-CIO Labor Council COPE celebration, we ask you for your guidance and your blessings as we chart a course to determine where we go from here. You've asked humanity to bear the burden of labor. Grant us, O loving Father, by your power, that the work we are beginning today may bring progress in this life for our workers and their families. As we face the challenges in our society and in our workplaces, show us your favor, O God, as we address the needs of this 21st century and beyond. We pray this prayer in the name of the God who does all things good. Amen.
Thank you, Deacon Winters, Dr. Jillian Harrison-Jones, and the Springboro JROTC Color Guard. What a tremendous amount of talent. And now, to set the tone for the evening, please welcome the Labor Council's Executive Secretary-Treasurer, Brian Griffin.
Thank you again, Denise. Good evening, sisters, brothers, and dear friends. Welcome, and thank you for being part of our 51st annual COPE celebration. You are likely aware that COPE is the acronym for Committee on Political Education, and this event is the sole fundraiser each year that provides us with the funding we need to sponsor voter registration, voter education, candidate screenings, endorsements, meet the candidate night, sample ballots, and our Get Out the Vote activities. The money we raise with this, our annual COPE celebration, is how we are able to amp up the volume and give a full-throated voice to working people and the candidates and issues that serve the interests of working people and their families. None of that would be possible without this event and your support. For that, I am truly grateful. Thank you. Where we go from here, that is the question that we ask and answer here this evening as we explore the profound opportunity we have right now. That is our theme for an evening where we celebrate 51 years of giving voice to the too often voiceless, to working people. 51 years. That's a lot of years. And we've seen a lot of change in those years. Just think, when we sat for our first such celebration, Richard Nixon was in the White House. Jim Rhodes was governor of Ohio, but John Gilligan was knocking on his door. William George Meany was the leader of the AFL-CIO, and nearly a third of U.S. workers belonged to a labor union. It was a different time. Much has transpired, and a great deal of water has gone under that bridge. Now, fast forward to today. Organized labor is in an exceptional period of both transition and opportunity right now. Not in any of our lifetimes has there been a political and social environment this favorable to working people and our right to organize. We had the most pro-union administration in the White House in over 75 years. Recently, the Executive Council of the AFL-CIO elected the most diverse leadership team in the history of the AFL-CIO. And more broadly, the face of the rank and file of labor is changing across the country. Labor unions are more broadly popular now than they've been in over 60 years, and our youngest workers are our biggest backers. Now is the time. Now is our time. It is time to embrace the pace and the changing nature of the workplace, workers' rights, and to fight for what is rightfully ours. Protections for collective bargaining agreements, the right to health and safety protections, the right to a livable wage, universal paid sick leave and family and medical leave, protections for whistleblowers, an end to worker misclassification, health care security, support for children, and the ability to hold corporations accountable for meeting their responsibilities. This is where we go from here. This is where we must focus our fire, and it starts right here, this evening. The foundational ideas and establishing principles that form the basis of this noble experiment we call the United States of America is replete with the belief in common law and the common good. It is created upon the idea that human rights and human dignity are preeminent. And at a time that is mired down by irrational and regressive individualism, unions are the greatest hope for the collective good. We are the river that raises all boats. So in order to form that more perfect union, we must continue to harvest the bounty, turning unorganized workplaces into union shops with union safeguards, protections, and all the good that solidarity can deliver. But we cannot just harvest. We must also plant. We must put fresh seed into the earth and grow new crops and raise up a new generation of labor leaders so that all we have fought for and all we have struggled to do and win can be handed down to the stewardship and the safekeeping of the next generation. That is why we are here this evening. That is where we go from here. Now, let's see and hear from a few of those emerging leaders now.
My name is Jessica Story.
I am Lee Black.
Richard Heimbrock.
I'm Nicola Parati.
My name is Julian Johnson.
I'm the business representative of the IUPAT, representing locals 123, 238, and 387.
With IBW Local 212, and I'm with Membership Development. I'm one of the organizers.
I am the Southwest State Rep for the Ohio AFL-CIO. I run the political programs for the Cincinnati AFL-CIO, as well as the Dayton-Miami Valley AFL-CIO.
I'm the legislative political coordinator for AFGE Local 2031. And I'm also a community organizer and activist here in the Cincinnati area.
I am the Executive Vice President of the Cincinnati Federation of Teachers. I also serve as the Second Vice President of the Ohio Federation of Teachers. And for both, I serve as the parliamentarian as well.
Labor has taken a beating.
Anti-labor, anti-union.
We are behind.
We are the experts in the classrooms. We are the ones with our boots on the ground. So we definitely demand that our voices be heard.
There are a lot of candidates.
These strikes with all these worker actions, with the fact that people are screaming for higher wages and fair benefits.
Well, it's the benefits, or it's the money, or it's the job security. There's certain things that make you want to be a union member.
We cannot forget our history, and we cannot take steps backwards.
We won't be able to get any bills passed if we don't win those elections.
In different jobs, different central labor councils.
We do need to learn from that.
Right in front of our eyes.
We've become a whole family of union members.
People are screaming for higher wages.
Positive things can come from the civil unrest.
We are very fortunate that the current administration is very pro-union.
It's taken this administration to push this hard barrier out of the way.
There's a cascade of new leadership across the nation.
We can keep the work here.
And that is going to be a huge priority.
Or legislation in there to help protect our pensions, our apprenticeship programs.
But what we need is for everyone to come together, especially for the children, because the children are the future of this country.
Normalize these political conversations and the importance of it to get people involved.
Female, it's people of color, it's LGBTQIA.
It's for the greater good.
Things that help workers' rights and try to continue pushing more for safety on the job site.
Is proving where our trajectory is going to go.
So, I mean, we'll see huge strides in the upcoming years.
We need to be in front of this.
The best thing that I've gotten involved in.
I've always believed in the power of unions.
And I don't want to see anybody left behind.
Yeah, if we can get more people involved.
At family dinners, talk about the PRO Act. Talk about these things that directly impact you. Talk about fair districts.
I can't wait to see where we're going from here.
I want to pave the way. My next sister might have a little bit easier path than what I had.
But I also like to be able to spend time with my neighbors and drop lead off next door and have those conversations within my community.
America is like an arrow.
Let's lay out what we need to do, get the job done.
Pulled back, and we're just waiting on that big moment to release us and shoot us forward.
Well, I don't have to be out there on an island by myself. I have my brothers and sisters around me.
Make sure you have your hive and your support group and bring them out with you.
Together as a union.
Our future is bright, and I'm really excited to see how working people are going to capitalize on that momentum.
2022, we need to show up in force.
Now, hopefully we can get back to where we were in the past in the 1930s and 40s and 50s when 1/3 of the national electorate were union members.
That's us. That's me. That's what I do. That's what we do.
Ladies, gentlemen, sisters, and brothers, please welcome our friend, the Hamilton County Clerk of Court and the next mayor of the city of Cincinnati, Aftab Pureval.
Hello and good evening to the members of the Cincinnati AFL-CIO. I'm Aftab Pureval, and it's truly an honor to have the opportunity to speak to all of you for the annual COPE celebration. Of course, it would have been great to be with all of you in person right now, but I think this is a powerful reminder of both the challenges and the momentum of this moment. The pandemic has been difficult on all of us, but it's been particularly difficult for those who make up the backbone of our economy, the workers who had to get up every day and go to work to keep our city functioning. And these workers have depended on their union in the collective battle to keep our workers protected in a historic economic downturn. Thanks in large part to the organizing and the advocacy of the AFL-CIO, every affiliate and every single member who has joined forces, we are at the precipice of a new chapter where we can bring our workers forward in staggeringly important ways. Over in D.C., the White House, under President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris's leadership, has enacted the most pro-union agenda our nation has seen since World War II. The administration is fighting with the tools they have to empower organized labor and support the right to collectively bargain. And Southwest Ohioans and Americans across this nation see this work, and we are overwhelmingly on our side. Right now, every day, people in every corner of life are standing with our brothers and sisters in high-profile struggles as they strike to defend their rights and stand up for the dignity of work. My point is this. Because of the work of each and every one of you, and because of the progress that has and will be carried forward by the most diverse leadership team in the history of the AFL-CIO, we have the opportunity of the century to create historic, transformational, and long-lasting change in the fight for workers' rights. We stand today still just out of the gates in a moment in time where we have to band together and work to build on the progress that we've seen. And I'm honored to introduce a man who has led in this mission, and a man who, with our support, will continue to lead as the next senator from the great state of Ohio. Congressman Tim Ryan has spent his entire life supporting others with his fierce advocacy and dedicated public service. Working families in Ohio and across the nation are better off because he stepped up to lead. Congressman Ryan comes from Northeast Ohio, where the winters are long and courage is a family tradition. And he exemplifies courage as much as anyone I've had the privilege to know. Congressman Ryan has been a leader on fighting against anti-worker legislation, on investing in clean jobs that protect our planet and lift up Ohioans, on working to expand access to education and job training. And he's never been afraid to stand up for what's right. When Republican leaders tried to sweep the investigation of the January 6th insurrection under the rug, it was Congressman Tim Ryan who fought back on the House floor. When Republican leaders tried to thwart the most effective and safest precautions that medical experts advised in this pandemic, it was Congressman Tim Ryan who fought back on the House floor. Guys, that's just who he is. The people of Ohio's 13th congressional district are lucky to have him as a representative, and I'm lucky to call him a friend. Congressman Ryan has spent his career fighting for working-class Americans who built this country and who in the middle of a pandemic made sure our country worked every day. I'm talking about Americans who have the calluses on their hands and the aches in their backs to prove it. Congressman Ryan has a backbone made of steel and the jawline of a 90s action hero. He represents the best of Ohio, and mark my words, never bet against Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce my friend, the pride of Niles, Ohio, and the next senator from the great state of Ohio, Congressman Tim Ryan.
Hey, Tim Ryan here. Hope everybody is doing well. Just wanted to pop in to your conference here, say hello to my buddy Bill Froehle, who's done a phenomenal job down in Cincinnati with the AFL-CIO Labor Council, Brian Griffin. Thank you so much for all your leadership, pal. You guys are doing it. 100 plus affiliated labor unions in Cincinnati, 35,000 hardworking members and their families. And I'm just so proud of the work you guys are doing and what's happened to Cincinnati and Hamilton County over the course of the last decade or two has been truly remarkable politically. And I know that so many of you were slogging, grinding, battling, fighting your way over the last few decades to make that happen. And here we are in a Senate race, in a 50-50 Senate, where one vote in the Senate could mean a big deal for working people. And we're going to certainly need a strong vote count coming out of Hamilton County. For those of you who don't know a whole lot about me, you probably know I've been in the fight with labor for a long time. I grew up in the Mahoning Valley in Niles, Ohio. My entire family were union members. My mom was AFSCME. My grandmother was AFSCME. My grandfather was a steel worker. My great grandfather were steel workers. All my great uncles were steel workers. My cousins were auto workers and the building construction trades across the board. And so, we understand, what it's like for working families in Ohio. We understand what's happened over the last, 20, 30, 40 years with bad trade deals, globalization, automation. We understand the impact that it's had on hollowing out communities, the betraying workers. And my cousin Donnie, who worked for at a factory that supplied General Motors, literally, lost his job there. And I'll never forget the phone call he made to me, letting me know in his last couple of days of work. He called and he said, "You're never going to guess what they have me doing." And I said, "What?" And he said, I had to unbolt the machine from the factory floor. I had to put it in a box and I had to ship it to China. Now, that is an insult. That is the betraying of workers. People in that same factory, had to do something very, very similar down to Mexico. The company located all kinds of factories right over the border in Mexico. And in some instances, the workers here up in Warren, Ohio, had to go down to Mexico to train the workers that were going to take their jobs. I mean, that is the level of betrayal that's happened to the American workers, and no one cared. No one reinvested back into the communities. No one said, "Hey, we got to make sure we lift these communities up, making sure we're taking care of workers." And not just in the last couple of years because of the pandemic and the economic collapse. And we've got to, honor and thank all of those essential workers who are out there, battling, fighting through the pandemic, but showing up for work. Obviously, those in the healthcare field were on the front lines every single day, exposing themselves and their families to the virus. The teachers who were, trying to work with parents, trying to work with the kids, trying to do virtual, trying to figure things out, battling through it. And we want to thank them, but across the board, we had workers, people who were, working at the grocery store, people who were working in the food industry, steel workers were out there in the middle of the pandemic as essential workers, building and construction, energy workers, utility workers, those people in the service industry. They were all out there throughout the entire pandemic, making it happen as essential workers. And they're not just essential during a pandemic. It's the workers of this country that have always made the country great. And I believe that we need policies in Washington, D.C. that are actually going to help them, which is why I support the PRO Act, which is, going to allow, facilitate unionization. People want to collectively bargain. That's going to help them. Supporting pensions. We have, saved over 100,000 pensions here in the state of Ohio with the Central State Pension Fund. People are going to lose, union members are going to lose half to 2/3 of their pension that they earned, that they set away, that they bargained for at the bargaining unit, and they were going to lose it. No one cared. It wasn't until Sherrod Brown, Tim Ryan, the president all said, "No, we have to fix this," and we fixed it. And that's what your legislators, that's what your senators are supposed to do. They're supposed to advocate, fight, battle for you because you're out there, battling every single day. And we have to keep this going. You're seeing the strikes across the country in which, workers are taking a stand. There's been a huge imbalance, look what's happened in the last 40 or 50 years. We've had CEO pay has gone up 1,300%. That's 1,300%. over since the 1970s, and worker pay has gone up 18%. And like, look, if you're a good company who's paying their workers, who's putting money in their pension, who's paying for good health care, paying a good wage, not outsourcing jobs to Mexico or China, look, we are supportive of you. We want to work with that business to create jobs. But 1,300% goes to the CEO and the worker gets 18%, while everything else in their lives is getting more and more expensive. That's a slap in the face. That's a slap in the face. And to see that the top 10% own 89% of the wealth generated from stocks. I mean, come on. What are we talking about here? And that's what we're trying to do. That's why I'm running. That's why we got to fight and battle for you guys and grind it out during this campaign. And I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need your support. But look what we're trying to do, a tax cut for working families. For the first time in a generation, the tax cut isn't going to the top 1%. You're looking at universal preschool, a cap in childcare costs that are, very, very difficult for many working families to handle. And you won't have to pay more than 7% of your income for childcare costs if we get this through. And that's the kind of thing we can get done that will actually help working families. Universal preschool, it's great to help us out compete China. Got to invest in education, but it's also money in people's pockets because that's one less year of childcare that the family has to pay. So childcare is money in your pocket. Universal preschool is money in your pocket. Paid family and medical leave, so you can take care of your sick parent or your kids without having to sacrifice your wages. That's money in people's pockets. Free community college so that we can have the skills necessary to outcompete China in these industries of the future. That's money in working people's pockets, removing any economic barrier to go get the skills you need to be able to get that good paying job. All the while we're investing in trying to dominate electric vehicles, batteries, charging stations, wind, solar, all of these industry, aerospace, all these industries of the future. We want that stuff made in Ohio. I want Ohio to be the leader in the manufacturing of the future. And we're starting to make some headway, but we've got to put the gas pedal down all the way if we're going to make this happen. You look at the Medicare program, our seniors that have sacrificed so much over their lifetime. We're trying to say, look, all of this is paid for. We're asking, no one's going to pay more in taxes if they make less than $400,000 a year. We're going to ask people that make $5 million a year to pay a little bit more to help us fund things like making sure that seniors don't have to pay for their eyeglasses, or making sure seniors don't have to pay for their hearing aids or dental work, and asking someone that makes $5 million a year, not has $5 million, makes $5 million a year to pay a little bit more so our parents and grandparents don't have to go in their pocket to pay for it. That's money back in the senior's pocket. Negotiate down drug prices, taking on the pharmaceutical industry. Look, I'm going to end with this. We're taking on all the big fights. For 40 years, it's been tax cuts to the top 1%, increase in CEO pay, all while productivity goes up. Workers are busting their rear ends, working longer and harder than ever before, and still can't get the breathing room that they need. That's what this campaign is about. That's why I need your help. I need your support. Let's get out there. Let's beat the bushes, get on the streets. We've got to make sure we're knocking on doors, getting your rank and file members engaged and saying, look, you got somebody with Tim and Tim Ryan that's going to get in a fight for you. Fight for the things that matter. You don't get in a fight just to get in a fight. You get in a fight if something matters. And these issues matter to working families. I think people are ready to come together and make a big shift to the workers and away from the CEOs and the big companies who have gotten all the benefits and all the wealth over the last 30 or 40 years. So I need your help. I need your support. We got to crush it in Southwest Ohio. And you guys are the backbone. So we need your help. And we're going to continue to fight. Can't wait to see you live and in person and hang out with you a little bit. We've got a lot of work between today and next November. I know you're going to be there for me. Let's get this done. Never bet against Ohio.
Wow. Thank you so much, Representative Ryan. You are always able to light up a room, and we are so looking forward to you joining another good friend of working people, Senator Sherrod Brown, as our second working person's U.S. Senator for Ohio. Just a quick note to all of you watching this evening. The musical motion picture Stand will stream immediately after tonight's program. It's a Canadian musical with Broadway-worthy infectious songs set against the true story of the 1919 Winnipeg General Strike. The writer and director have a special message for Cincinnati coming up immediately after our program. But now, let's take a quick peek at the film's trailer.
It isn't illegal to speak one's mind in this country.
Then make it illegal.
If you go, Stefan Sokolowski, I'll go with you.
Anywhere they send you, I'll find you, Rebecca Almozov.
Stay away from that.
There is a meeting tomorrow. You should come.
You got this color skin, and they don't let you in no more.
We all came to this new land on a promise, but the future has arrived, and the promise has not.
Your brother was very inspiring.
Yes, he likes to talk about rights, just none for the women he knows.
Forget about that Jewish girl in this strike.
She does not want to see you.
Sokolowski, welcome to the revolution.
Get the damn thing stopped and clear those troublemaking foreigners right out of the country.
They will crush you.
I will never forget about her or the strike.
The more we do nothing, the more nothing changes.
Good evening, sisters and brothers. My name is Andre Washington, and I am the proud state president of the historic A. Philip Randolph Institute, the senior constituency group of the AFL-CIO. Asa Philip Randolph, our founder, was born in 1889 in Crescent City, Florida. Asa Philip Randolph married the love of his life, Lillian Green, and later moved to Harlem, New York, where he started his life in the labor movement. Asa Philip Randolph organized over 10,000 porters, cooks, and maids in the 20s and 30s to force the Pullman Company to negotiate a fair and decent contract so that African Americans could have respect on the job. Asa Philip Randolph won executive order from President Truman to ban discrimination in the armed forces and federal employment. Asa Philip Randolph organized marches in the 50s and 60s to help integrate public schools. Asa Philip Randolph, along with Bayard Rustin, organized the 1963 March on Washington, D.C. for Jobs and Freedom, where Dr. King gave his I Have a Dream speech. In 1965, we started an organization called the A. Philip Randolph Institute, an organization that bears his name. Asa Philip Randolph realized that Black and brown people access to the middle class for fair wages was through the labor movement. So the A. Philip Randolph Institute is that bridge between the African American community and the labor movement. Asa Philip Randolph was called the godfather of the Civil Rights Revolution. Asa Philip Randolph died in 1979. Asa Philip Randolph, a great American, a great humanitarian, a great man. Today, our organization is led by the one and only Clayola Brown. She has been our national president since 2004, and she is the first woman to lead this great historic organization. Clayola Brown is a friend of mine. She's a mentor, and I am honored to present her to you today. Clayola Brown started her career in Charleston, South Carolina, where she worked alongside her mother to help organize the Manhattan Shirt Factory to get a decent and fair contract for our brothers and sisters in the South. Clayola Brown is just, when you meet her, when you hear her, you're going to become a friend of hers, and you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Clayola Brown has a bachelor's degree from Florida AME University. She has postgraduate work from American University. Clayola Brown has numerous awards. Clayola has been on the NAACP National Board. She's chaired their Image Awards. And I can go on and on and on and talk about all of the awards and how she's been recognized by numerous presidents. But the best way for me to present Clayola Brown to you is this way, folks. See, if we were in church, I could say that Clayola Brown could be compared to Ruth in the Bible, where it says Ruth was a mother, Ruth was a community leader, where it described Ruth as a shiny ruby. I could compare Clayola Brown to Esther in the Bible, where it says that Esther led with clarity. I could compare Clayola Brown to Abigail in the Bible, where it says that Abigail, not only did she have brains, but she had beauty. The Bible says that the steps of a good person has been ordered by the Lord. And Clayola Brown's steps have been ordered from day one when she was in Charleston, South Carolina. Clayola Brown has been called to lead the labor movement, to lead the A. Philip Randolph Institute for times such as this. Sisters and brothers, please help me in welcoming my friend, soon to be your friend, the president of the National A. Philip Randolph Institute, the one, the only, my friend, one more time, my friend, give her a virtual welcome, the one, the only, Clayola Brown.
Hello, Cincinnati AFL-CIO, and thank you for the opportunity to address your convention. Let me first do a shout out to President Bill Froehle and the other officers of the Cincinnati AFL-CIO Labor Council. It is truly an honor to speak in front of such a dedicated group of labor activists and a labor council with such a rich history as yours. Speaking of history, we find ourselves living in a historic moment for the labor movement, sisters and brothers and siblings like we've not seen before. The challenges that workers currently face have never been more complex, and the opportunities available to us have never been greater. With so many of us battling for so many years, on behalf of working people, we can't say we've been waiting for this moment, but this moment has found us just the same. The unprecedented pandemic that we are still in the midst of has exposed many of the inequities that exist in our society. It is shining a light directly on the problems we have always been trying to resolve: egregious economic inequality, racial injustice, worker exploitation, and so many other forms of injustice. All of the devastating impact that the pandemic has wrought now serves as Exhibit A, and we now seek to implement policies that begin to address these massive problems. Like all crossroads through history, the most important thing about this moment is its future. It's about what we do with this opportunity. And it turns out that it is us, the labor movement, that is uniquely positioned to be the most effective change agent right now. Because of what we stand for, because we stand together, and because many people want the same agenda we seek, we can do this, sisters and brothers and siblings. I'm trying to be modest when I say this, but people love us right now. Unions are more popular now than we've been in over 60 years. More and more, the general public sees unions as a positive force for change, and that empowers us beyond measure. And we see it in our national politics. Last fall, we elected the most pro-union administration in generations. And the first 10 months of the Biden-Harris administration have shown us what is possible. We have a laborer for a labor secretary, a pro-worker NLRB, and dozens of executive actions that are helping to level the playing field for American workers. We are on the precipice of passing historic labor law reform in the PRO Act, and we have a real opportunity to pass meaningful infrastructure bills. Bills that will drive our economy into the future with support for all working people, with support for children, with support for retirees. We can pass long overdue voting rights legislation that will help us to preserve our right to vote, and indeed the very democracy that gives us power in the first place. We find ourselves at a point in time when more and more workers are seeking to join unions, and more workers are striking and picketing their employers for the dignity that their work deserves. The latest strike at Kellogg's, John Deere, Kaiser, and so many others are the embodiment of worker power rising. I know that Cincinnati AFL-CIO has done an immense amount of work in organizing and supporting strike actions. And it's that kind of commitment that allows us to seize this moment, to hold the line and win for all workers. As for the National AFL-CIO, we find ourselves in a historic moment of our own. I'm smiling because I'm so happy about the changes that have been made. The Executive Council of the AFL-CIO elected the most diverse leadership team in the history of the AFL-CIO this year, with Liz Shuler, the organization's first female president. And it feels real good to be able to say Madam President. And we elected United Steelworkers International Vice President Fred Redmond as Secretary Treasurer, the first Black American to hold that office. And more broadly, the labor movement is diversifying across the country, and this is reflected in our leadership. Sisters and brothers, I do not have a crystal ball that tells me what exactly we can expect next, but I can tell you that the labor movement is going to be right in the middle of it. That's where we need to be, and that's where we will get the justice we deserve. It is always said that the leadership should reflect the membership, and this time it does. So congratulations on your convention, and thank you for all the work that you do. With us all in the trenches together, fighting for all the needed changes for us, we will win a better day for all of us. Enjoy your convention. Have a great time, and keep up the magnificent job that you do coming from your area. Thank you so very much for the invitation, and God bless.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. What an amazing and inspirational message for all of us. We're so grateful you were able to join us this evening. COVID has been extremely difficult for so many of our brothers and sisters, especially those working in harm's way in healthcare. The song We Belong was written by a friend of mine, Dan Navarro, who I served with on the national board of SAG-AFTRA. He spent years not only writing great songs that you know, but you've heard his voice everywhere for years, countless films, commercials, video games, even on The Simpsons. He's been a union activist for a very long time, and as a trustee and contract negotiator, he's put fair wages into the artist's pocket. He's changed the lyrics on his song for those heroes tonight, sisters, brothers, and friends. Dan Navarro.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Navarro, wishing you well on the 51st anniversary of COPE and celebrating your educating our brothers and sisters about the current political situation surrounding everyone in labor right now. I'm at the Opelika Songwriters Festival in Opelika, Alabama, but I've actually just come from a 5-hour Zoom meeting for SAG-AFTRA union board elections at the biannual convention. I served for 8 years as the vice president, singer, recording artist for SAG-AFTRA, and just handed that post to Janice Pendarvis, but I'm on the board for the next 4 years, fighting the fight for organized labor. And we just had a rousing speech, actually, from Liz Shuler, the new president of the AFL-CIO. So I wrote this song in 1983 and was fortunate to have it become a big hit for Pat Benatar in 1984. Well, I wrote a reworked version with Rebecca Sanford of McLean Hospital in Belmont, Massachusetts, for a video you're about to see. Celebrating frontline healthcare workers in the fight against COVID-19. Here's to them, and here's to you. There are times we feel so frightened. There are times we feel alone. In the darkness there is always a light ahead to lead you home. Don't want to have you feeling this is something we can't do. Our work is our commitment, spreading signs of hope to pull you through. We belong to the light, we belong to the thunder. We belong to a spirit of strength as we lean on each other. Whatever we deny or embrace, for worse or for better, we belong, we belong, we belong together. Close your eyes and feel the hope now. Close your eyes and feel it's true. Clear your mind, we'll do our best to help each other make it through. And every day we'll show you how much we really care. Working hand in hand together till things are better everywhere. We belong to the light, we belong to the thunder. We belong to a spirit of strength as we lean on each other. Whatever we deny or embrace, for worse or for better, we belong, we belong, we belong together. Lean on me and we'll get through this together. We belong, we belong, we belong together. We belong. We belong. Whatever we deny or embrace, we belong. We belong. We belong. Congratulations, Olive.
Thank you so much, Dan. That was amazing. What a great evening. But as with all good things, this too must come to a close. But even when we're all done here, be sure to stick around and enjoy the musical motion picture stand. But for now, let's all take another quieter moment as we're rejoined by our friend and brother, Deacon Royce Winters, to give our benediction.
Let us pray. Our Lord and God, you will the forces of human nature to human labor. Mercifully grant that what we have begun this day may join us as brothers and sisters in practicing sound guidelines and policies that will advance the fulfillment of your divine work and all that you have done in creation. May all find work that speaks of the dignity of humanity and enable us to serve our neighbors with great purpose and with love. We pray this always in the name of the one true God. Amen and amen.
Thank you, Deacon Winters. Well, that almost completes tonight's 51st COPE event, Brian. I hope you've got your popcorn ready.
As a matter of fact, I do. We are all in for a very special treat. Stan's creator, Danny Shore, and its director, Robert Aratui, have graciously given us the opportunity to view their wonderful film as a way to support us and inspire us. It is a great movie and a perfect icing on the cake we baked here this evening. Now, let's let them introduce their work to us. We'll see you at the end of the film. Enjoy.
It isn't illegal to speak one's mind in this country.
Then make it illegal.
Is it not time to stand together and demand our rights?
So now I'm gonna
Hello, it's Danny Shear, composer, producer, co-writer of the Stand movie musical, and proud member of American Federation of Musicians, Local 190 here in Winnipeg, Canada. Stand is set against the 1919 Winnipeg General Strike, which, like the Seattle General Strike of the same year, is one of the lesser known but still profoundly influential labor stories of the era. The Winnipeg General Strike led to labor, social, and political movements that changed the face of Canada and that still exists to this very day. We were really lucky to have Stand directed by one of Hollywood's leading directors of musical movies. His name is Robert Atatui. Here's Rob in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Danny. Hi, everyone. It's Rob Atatui, a proud member of the Directors Guild of America. I grew up in a small mining town in Canada where my father was a longtime member of the Steelworkers Union. In fact, one of my strongest memories of growing up in Sudbury was of the union strike in 1978 that lasted over 9 months. It had a profound effect on my family and, of course, the entire nation. It is this union family background that I brought to the production of Stand, a movie that celebrates the hard-fought legacy of workers for over the last century, and yet a movie that is still just as relevant for today. So please accept Danny's and my personal invitation to join us for one night only premiere of Stand.
I'll go with you. Everything's changed. The world's upside down. But we can't stop.